T-Bird fans. Welcome to the first episode of the second season of T-Bird Talk. I'm Cloud County Community College Sports Information Director, Toby Nosker. The 2025-2026 school year has begun, and the 2025 fall sports programs at Cloud County Community College are ready to begin their season. The Cloud County Community College volleyball team officially gets its 2025 campaign underway this weekend as they make the trip to Ranger, Texas and Cisco, Texas for the 2025 Wrangler Ranger Roundup. The T-Birds will face 4 teams this weekend, beginning at 9 a.m. Friday morning when they match up with Panola College, followed by a 1 p.m. contest with Ranger College at the Ron Butler Gymnasium in Ranger, Texas. The following day, Cloud County heads to Cisco, Texas to take on Dallas College Mountain View at 11 a.m. and Blinn College at 3 p.m. On this week's edition of T-Bird Talk, we'll sit down with Cloud County Community College head volleyball coach Hilta Ramos as we'll preview the start to their 2025 season. This is T-Bird Talk.
Are you a Kansas or Nebraska high school senior who's thinking about your next step after high school? If so, you qualify for Cloud County Community College's $500 Early Bird Scholarship. All you have to do is visit campus before December 19th and have a GPA of 3.0 or higher, and you get a $500 scholarship guaranteed. So come visit Cloud and see why our students are Cloud proud. On your visit, you'll see our campus, meet with an academic advisor, and get a chance to have all your questions answered. Set up your campus visit today by giving us a call at 785-243-1435 extension 212 or visiting us online at cloud.edu/admissions.
A brand new season of T-Bird Talk is back, and that means a brand new season for the Cloud County Community College volleyball team as the T-Birds open up their 2025 season this weekend, traveling to Ranger, Texas and Cisco, Texas to take part in the annual Wrangler Ranger Roundup. And joining us is the head volleyball coach at Cloud County Community College, Hilta Ramos. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Toby?
I'm great, and I appreciate you joining us and excited about another season. I know you and the team really hit the ground running starting August 1st and have been going pretty heavy in practices and some recent scrimmages ever since. Do you feel like you're ready to take on the season now?
Yes. We started on August 1st. We had our preseason, which the girls like to say there's like a 3-a-day where we have our workouts, conditioning, and then we have individuals, and then we have our team practice. And we have such a fun group this year that I am very excited to see what they can do. The first few scrimmages that we had, of course, we have a lot to work on, but I can see how this team can work well together. I can see, where like one of the players can work better. I can see some of them being able to work in more than one position. So I'm very excited.
Last year, kind of a tough year. There was matches that I know you wish you had back, ones that you were competitive in, but just couldn't find enough to be able to walk away with the W. You bring a lot of girls back with experience from a year ago, which obviously is key coming into this year. But then I know even on the heels of last season, you guys were able to have a spring campaign and have a few matches throughout the spring. And it sounded like that was a really successful time for you and the team.
Yes. Having a tough season this past season was actually good for the team because we brought 12 freshmen. And I knew it would be a hard year because there's like 12 new people trying to learn, how we do volleyball here at Cloud, adapting to the next level because it is called next level for a reason, right? Like they need to get faster, they need to get stronger. So I knew it would be a tough year. And the girls also recognized that there was a lot to work on. So when spring hit, we went full on working on everything. We saw that, was weakness. We also work on the things that we knew would be our strength. And then even this first, scrimmages that we had, I could see how much they grew. All of them grew a lot. All of them mentally, like mental toughness. I can see a huge improvement. And yes, I feel like, what happened in the past was good for us to keep the eyes on the prize. And as the girls say, never get back there again.
6 returners from last year's team, plus a couple who are with you that are redshirted a year ago and are back now for their redshirt freshman seasons this year. So 8 returners. You also add in a sophomore transfer and then some new faces. But I feel like that's probably a pretty good mix to have that kind of level of experience back with 8 girls that had been around you, were in the practice room every day, and now can help lead the new class coming in.
Yes, correct. It's always what I wish for, to always have 8 and 8 or 7 and 8, depending on the size of the roster, because it does, the experience does, help at the end. Like when we're on the 24, for example, yesterday, we scrimmaged Kansas Wesleyan, and there was points in the game where we were a little bit low. I think the second set, if I'm not mistaken, we were 7-1 to start the match, and they're just experienced enough to hey, we need to do something about this, and we ended up winning that set. So I think that experience will help us a lot this year to not stress about or be too much worried about, okay, so the score shows that we're 5 points behind and let's just give up. They have the mentality of, we can still fight for this, we can still go, we can still get this win, and that's very important.
Has there been much discussion with the returners about last year? How much do they want to move on and have a more successful season this year? What has been the dialogue and the conversation with them?
Oh, yes. One of the things that we talked about in our individual meetings and our team meetings is last year was to learn, and then now we move on. We're not bringing that anymore. We're not looking back to what happened. We're learning from the experience, and now we're making it new. We're not staying tied to what happened. We're looking forward. So, yeah.
One of the things when I've watched you practice and in the early season scrimmages, and maybe a huge difference from a year ago, and a lot of it because of the experience and what you bring back, but you have so much depth at so many positions, and it's got to be tough for you to kind of manage and figure out, okay, what group do I need working together with who do I need in what positions? You bring back a lot of talent in the back row. You have some that are now adjusting to new positions because, again, to provide some depth. And maybe there is, a group of girls that are already in these positions. Hey, can I help out somewhere else? Talk a little bit about that in the early part of the season and the practices, trying to figure out who's going to fit where, because it does feel like, and maybe you're kind of blessed in a way that you have so many girls capable of playing so many positions. Yeah,
it's actually a good problem to have, I know all the girls are excited to play, but they also they understand their role, and that's one of the things too that I really wanted to approach early in the season. That doesn't matter which position I put you there to play, I'm putting you over there in this position because I believe you can do well. I believe you can do it. So that's one of the things that they all understand, that they are here for the team. They're gonna play in the position that the team needs. For example, we have 2 out of our 3 outsides down now. So I'm putting some of my middles on the outside, and they understand that, hey, I need to do my best over here. And that's great because they're all athletic. They all can do the blocking, the hitting, and everything. And that's one of the things that I tell all of them. I'm going to train you guys for more than one position. We only have 14. We don't want to have any injuries, but if it happens, how can we, still manage to, go and play well? So yeah, it's a good problem to have,
Yeah, because you mentioned, some of your middles, I've seen Julianne Sandoval and Tori Sanders adjusting to new positions. Well, they'll play outside or right side, but they primarily came in as middles, right? Addie Ogle, somebody who redshirted a year ago and was looked at as a libero defensive specialist type, and now has been playing a lot in the preseason as a setter. Have they been pretty willing to take on whatever role, though, that you've asked of them?
Yes. So about Tori and Julie, last year I told them, I was like, I really want to keep you guys in the middle. I know that's where you love, but also thinking about, transferring. They're not very tall. They're both like 5'7", 5'8". To be in the middle, to go to, a 4-year university, sometimes you need to be a little bit taller. So that's a discussion I had with them before moving them to the pins. And they're willing to do it. They're like, hey, I want to learn as much as I can. I am open to the new opportunities. And then Addie, like, she surprised me. She's a great player. She's a great person, like very coachable. And I remember last year in the spring when the two other freshman setters that I had came and decided they wanted to quit, Addie came to my office and she was like, hey, coach, I know it's a tough situation. We're going to head to the spring. We don't have a setter. I had a little bit of experience as a setter in high school, not a lot, but I'm willing to do whatever you want me to do. And that really, like, surprised me that she was willing to do whatever you would take, to help the team. And I was like, okay, sure, let's do it. So in like probably 3 months, I don't even remember how long was the preseason, we would have some individual practice and then the team practices. And she was just like taking every advice, everything. And now she's leading, like the offense for our team. She's one of our best blockers. She already has a lot of experience in the defense position. And she is getting more and more accurate with her set. So she is impressing me. And I'll tell you, it's all her. Like, she works really hard. Like, all of the girls work really hard. And it shows. Like, you can see how much they all have improved. And that's because of how hard they work.
5 new faces into the program this year as well. A couple of setters along with Addison Ogle, a couple of middles, and then one pin hitter as well. How do you feel like the new faces to the program, how they have adapted so far to just everything? Because it's a huge change, right? Not just as far as skill level for volleyball, but, we're talking about kids that move into campus before anybody else, adjusting to life now, being on their own. They've hit the ground running with school starting last week, so now they've got all of the academic pressures on top of the athletic pressures. But what have you seen of those new 5 faces, and how do you feel like they've adapted?
I feel like they are adapting well. I really believe it was a little hard at the beginning when there was nobody here. It was like volleyball, straight to camp. Like, I can see that being hard. A lot of them, we have two of our setters, one from Canada, one from Germany. Like, they're moving to a whole another culture. So I can see that being hard to adapt. But we have such a nice group of like sophomores, and they always mention like how good they've been, like, including the freshmen. It's not like, oh, sophomores over here, freshmen over there, go figure it out. That's something that I think is very important, that, you welcome the new members of the family. Like, we make sure they're like, if they have any questions, if they need somebody to talk to. I know, it's hard when you leave, even for the girls from Kansas, sometimes it's hard to leave family behind, friends, boyfriends, like, there's a lot for them to adapt. And I feel like it was a little bit hard when nobody was here, but now that school is going, we're just having the normal warm practice. We don't have conditioning at 6:30 a.m. Like, things are getting easier. And I think they're adapting really well. They're adapting really well to the level of the game. I remember the first few practices, I would tell them like, hey, we got to be a little bit faster on this, and we need to do it this certain way, because they all come from different high schools. And we all know that when it comes to volleyball, different high schools have different systems. Like, they run a different offense. They will have different names for the offense. So it is a lot that we need to adapt in a short amount of time. But they really bought into what we are here for this year. And they know their roles. They know what they need to do to get better. They are competing as a team, but we understand that, we're competing against the other team more than our own team. So yeah, they are adapting, very well. I feel like now better than ever.
One of the first things you told me about this group coming into the year was they're fun.
Oh, yeah.
They've got big personalities. They can be silly. They can be serious on the court, though, too, when it comes game and match time. But talk a little bit about those personalities and keeping things pretty loose and being able to see them have fun and enjoy this experience.
Yeah, this group, from practice number one, even watching some of them in high school, I could kind of tell. But practice number one, you could kind of tell already, the silly ones, the ones that are more serious. But even those, for example, Elizabeth Schusser, she came in very serious, and then now you see some pictures and she's celebrating, and everybody celebrates with her because you can see there she's getting out of her shell. And then we have Zoe that, some pictures we see online, her personality come out in the pictures, and then you see also Brooke, very loud and happy and, laughing, and that's what I told them. This is one of the things that we're talking about for this year, to laugh. We actually have the LAFF is one of our mottos for this year, and the last F is have fun. And that's one of the things that I think we forgot about, last season, and I want to bring it back. We can still focus, we can still win having fun, because we're never going to have a perfect game or a perfect practice where nobody makes no mistakes. There will be some mistakes, but how are you going to move on from there? Are you going to be mad and, put yourself down inside of your head, or are you going to laugh it off and move to the next point? And I think this team is doing a great job of just laughing it off and moving on to the next point.
We're talking with Hilta Ramos. She's the head volleyball coach at Cloud County Community College. The Cloud County Community College volleyball team set to get its 2025 season underway this weekend as they make a trip down to Ranger, Texas and Cisco, Texas for the annual Wrangler Ranger Roundup. 4 matches coming up this weekend. We'll touch on that in just a moment. So the girls move in late July. And they do that because you have 3 youth camps that take place over the course of 3 days. And then on the heels of that, you're officially starting your practices. And as you said, it's kind of 3 a days where they do some conditioning. Then there's individual workouts, and then there's the full team practice. But you guys really get intense in those individual workouts, not just the team practice. Tell me about that approach and why you feel like that approach is so important in the preseason.
Yes, so for volleyball at our level, we have maybe 2 weeks, some years less than 2 weeks. I think this year we had 10 days to get ready, before classes starts, and we're not longer, we don't have the availability to do all of that. And there is a lot. There's at least half of the team who's new that needs to adapt to the new system, to the new offense. They need to adapt to the way we run things, how fast it is. There is some technique that we need to work on and we need to fix. So that's, something that I see as necessary to make sure everybody understands, because it would be really hard, as a player to come over here and then, hey, let's just put everybody together. We don't know exactly what we're doing, and let's just play. So I think it's easier. First, the conditioning, because the season is going to be 3 months long, a little bit over that. But, let's say 3 months. And there's, 30 plus games. There will be weeks that we play 6 to 8 games, when we play tournaments and stuff. So it's really it's really tough for them if they're not physically prepared. So that's why those first days we really focus on conditioning, not so much on getting stronger, but really making sure they will be able to have what it's needed, the endurance for the rest of the season. Then for the individuals to make sure they work connecting setters middles, connecting setters and pins, making sure the libero DSs, are having enough time to pass the ball and, things like that. Having the setters trying to, get more consistent. And then the team practice to put it all together. So I think that's necessary. That's something that, might be tough at the beginning, but they see how it plays off later.
you can kind of get exposed pretty early on too if you're not coming in shape, right? And I know heading into the summer, you've got kind of for them, here's what my expectations are. This is what I want you to be doing and working on and making sure that you are staying in shape, are staying fit for the upcoming season. It's tough for you to monitor when there's 14 girls from 14 different cities and you're not with them. But did you feel like they came in pretty prepared for the season?
Yeah, so this year I came up with this little booklet, with like what they would do for week 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Like it would be like a 6-week, because I understand summer too, like they might have some vacation with family, but that's what I told all of them. It's 6 weeks, okay? Do your 6 weeks, make sure you're getting ready, because that's basically what you're gonna do when you get here on campus. And I could see a lot of them who surprised me. Like we do our testings. Like first thing we test like agility. We test how high they're jumping and like everything. And they did pretty well. Like a lot of them getting high marks, and we do some like wall sits, and I put them like, hey, this is what I expect, and they worked hard to beat those expectations. So that was another thing that made me really excited.
Because as you mentioned, once the season begins, it goes by so quick. It's really about 3 months. If you can make a deeper postseason run, maybe 3.5 months, that you get an opportunity to play. But it's going to go very fast. And we've seen players make some pretty significant jumps in their game, during the course of a season. I think somebody like a returner like Grace Rowland from a year ago, who I felt like the second half of her freshman year really found her footing, established herself as a player. But part of what I know you're trying to do is how do we get there at the start of the season and then build upon that and really take it to levels that, we can't even think about and stuff. And so you don't want to see necessarily that dramatic of growth. You want to see them come in to where, again, they've got a pretty strong base level to start out the year.
Yes, correct. So that's the expectations, and that's what I'm trying to make especially freshmen understand. I feel like when they come here the first year, the sophomores understand. They always come in prepared. They know what to expect. So, it's just make sure all the freshmen understand that they need to work. Like the summer is not a time off, like, oh yes, I'm going to go to college, so I'm going to rest now because I'm going to work hard later. No, work hard during the summer so you get here prepared and we can just go ahead and move on, because I cannot just be, waiting and modifying everything for the person who did not get ready throughout the summer. I will look at, okay, who are my top players and they can do it. Okay, so let's try to make everybody get to that level. Okay, of course, I will not gonna do anything if I see that they're not able to do it, but I expect all of them to get here in a good shape so we can move on, because we don't have enough time, right? And another thing too that is very important is to come mentally prepared to understand this is the next level. Maybe when they play, high school, they're the best in their high school program, but they're playing against a lot of other high school players, and having that mentality of not being scared of what is ahead of them, but understand that it is the next level. Like they will see all of the best players from all of the other high schools together. It's not like, some smaller high school, oh, we don't have enough people to make the team, so everybody plays every sport. Like it's not like that at our level. We see every year you're going to see some international players that they actually play for their national team. And then those are the players we're facing. So just understanding, mentally as well, like I'm going to prepare myself physically, but mentally I know it's going to be tough. And I'm going to prepare myself to not be scared, but be prepared enough to understand, like I'm going to get better and better. So I'm going to be able to compete against, the other players, the other teams, even my teammates, for a position.
Well, and I think of internal competition too for spots on the team. Not only is everybody they're going to face off against, was the best player on their high school team, but all of their teammates were probably the best player on their high school team. So, if you're the best player on your high school team, maybe in high school you don't feel like, hey, there's nobody behind me that's really competing for my spot. do I have to compete that hard because nobody's going to take this job from me? Now they come in to where, hey, the person behind me or the person in front of me, they were the best people on their team too. So I really have to compete if I want to earn that playing time, if I want to earn my spot.
Yes, correct. And that's one of the things that I think this team understands really well. Like, they understand that they are going to be friends, they're going to be teammates, but they're going to compete every single day for that spot because that's how we get better. Right? If we don't have competition inside of the team, they're just going to accommodate and they're not going to get any better, right? So they understand that really well. And, something that was really interesting. So both of our middles, like our newcomer middles, Elizabeth and Zoe, they played against each other the entire life. So it was always like, it's funny to see how they're interacting together. They're actually like playing really well together, but every time they kind of mention like, hey, I need to make sure, I'm on my top because, she's right behind me. Like, I want to be the best, and they're very competitive. That's another thing that I love about them. They're very, in their own unique ways, they're very competitive. They want to be the best. They want to like beat themselves, and they want to be the best when they're out there.
You talked about the mental side of things, and the one thing that also stands out to me about your team, your players, so many of them were multi-sport athletes in high school. They didn't just focus on volleyball. They competed in other sports, and even here at Cloud, you have several girls that compete in multiple sports, whether it's softball, track and field, whatever it is on top of volleyball. So from a mental side, from a mental standpoint, I should say, they know what it takes to compete. They know the mindset that you need to have going into competitions and how they need to push themselves.
Yes, correct. We have two girls, Berkeley and Brooke. They're also playing softball. And I also have Carly and Zoe that will also do track and field. I have some other girls kind of thinking, they have the ability to do it. They're still kind of like taking it slow and thinking if that's really what they want to do. But I have a very athletic team, and I like when they do, other sports. First, I tell all of them, like, it's 2 years of your life that you need to experience and try to have the most out of it. This is going to be probably one of the fun times of your life. So yes, go ahead and do it. Also having other coaches, seeing other cultures, like I believe it always adds to, who they are as a person and as an athlete. Like, they can bring things that they see they're working, on the other teams and, bringing it to volleyball. Like, hey, I believe, this is a good thing that we should maybe take from the other teams. So yeah, I really enjoy having multi-sport athletes on the team.
Talking with Hilta Ramos, head volleyball coach at Cloud County Community College. Over the last week, it's been scrimmages. Started with the inter-squad scrimmage, the black versus gold scrimmage. And then on the heels of that, you went down to El Dorado and Butler Community College for the annual Kansas Jayhawk Community College Conference scrimmages. Saw 3 different teams there. And then earlier this week, as you mentioned before, an opportunity to head to Kansas Wesleyan University and scrimmage against them. I know you're trying to get as much girls playing time as possible. I know at the El Dorado scrimmages, the Jayhawk conference scrimmages, those are timed. You don't get necessarily full matches in. But I know for you, it's your chance to really see them against other competition, not just, playing against each other. And you get to test out the things that you've been working on in practice. How did you feel like the scrimmages went?
I think they went really well. I was able to do and that's what I tell the girls too, the scrimmages are for me to try new rotations. I feel like every coach, sometimes parents don't understand because, they see coaches doing crazy things, putting people in different spots, and they're like, we were winning, why are you changing? But it's because I want to see what could work. What are the possibilities, I have with, especially having a team that I can put one person in 3 different spots and they will do as well. So I'm just trying to make sure, I have, the 6 out there that work the best in that rotation, have the strongest rotation I can. But yeah, it was really nice to see all of them. I could see that anybody I put over there, the level is going to stay pretty much very similar. Of course, there are some people that connect a little better, and I'm going to try to figure out who those are and which position they are, which rotation I need to put them in. But it was very nice to see, how they work together in those scrimmages, how they work together against other teams, because when we're playing against each other, they already know like the tendencies of each other. But when they're working against another team, like they might have a faster middle, how do we adapt to that? So it was very, very nice to see all of that and, give them the opportunity to play and show, the strength. And yes, it was pretty fun.
Were they ready for it? Were they ready for competition? I mean, as a coach, you probably want to practice for 8 months, before you start playing. I mean, you want to spend as much time drilling, much time developing, much time, really focusing in and honing in on their skills. But, practices can get long for them as a player. I'm sure you remember even your playing days here at Cloud. Were they finally ready to, hey, let's hit the court. Let's see what we can do against somebody else?
Oh, yes, they were for sure. They were very excited. Of course, especially for freshmen, that first game, that you're putting on the jersey, you might feel a little bit like anxious, but I could see that it didn't last too long. Like they were excited to play, and all of them, excited to put the Cloud jersey one more time and, be proud of wearing that jersey. I could see yesterday, how they're like happy and jumpy and celebrating every point, which it makes me really happy to see that, they are celebrating, because they know it doesn't matter if it's a 10-foot line hit or if it's the libero just like putting a free ball on the other side, we're going to have the same, celebration, the same excitement. And I know they are ready to go to Dallas, to go to, Nebraska, to, start our conference and actually see how much they can improve.
First road trip of the season this weekend. Longest road trip of the season as you head to Texas to compete in the 2025 Wrangler Ranger Roundup. 4 matches in total, one against a preseason top 20 team in Blinn College, a team that competed at the NJCAA National Tournament a year ago. First 2 matches, though, against Panola College and Ranger College. Those will take place in Ranger, Texas. And then Dallas College, Mountain View, and Blinn College in Cisco, Texas, coming up on Saturday. Of course, you have 4 girls on the team from Texas. Julianne Sandoval, Tori Sanders, Berkeley Curtis, and Rachel Shakeen. An opportunity for them to get to go back home and play in front of some close family and friends. But tough tournament. You're going to run into some pretty good competition right out of the gate.
Yes. It's always really fun to go down to like trips like that, so family members can join and can watch them. I know they're going to be very excited to see some family and friends. They probably wouldn't see us much up here in Kansas when we're, playing for conference games. Our KJC, like our conference, is really tough. So as a coach, I don't want to ever just put them to play some like not very competitive teams and, like, hey, we're the best in the world. And then when we go and we face our first conference team, we're just like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like I want them to see the good competition as well. So when I choose the tournaments, I try to find, tournaments where we're going to have like a mix of teams, some teams that will really challenge us and some teams that will able to maybe bring us the confidence. Of course, we need to prepare. Like none of the teams we're going to face are guaranteed win if we don't go ready to play. But, we know some teams might be a little bit harder than others, and I try to find that balance when I'm choosing the tournaments we're going to go. Of course, location was a big thing, but yeah.
Well, and as you said, nice for those girls to be able to get back to their home state, compete in front of their friends and family. But, for others, and I know as I did the show last year and talked to all of your players and different athletes throughout the year, a lot of these students have never traveled before, maybe have never been outside of their home state. So those that have grown up here in Kansas, and so the opportunity to go travel to Texas, to be in McCook, Nebraska the following week, wherever you guys are going to compete, they haven't had this kind of opportunity. And so, and for your international students too, this is an opportunity to them to kind of introduce them to America, get them an opportunity to see, different parts of the country they might otherwise not go to.
Yes, and I remember as a player, that was the most exciting thing for me. Like, I love traveling. I love going to new places. And I know how fun it is to go with your teammates, go with your friends, make those memories. We always talk about how, some of your best memories will be when you're in college with friends and teammates. And I want to make sure they also have those great experience, because I remember so many of the experience, like even I would say the hard experience. I remember when I was a player and I drove all the way from Oklahoma to, I believe it was Nebraska, and I don't even remember exactly where it was, but I just know it was like an 11-hour drive on this little bus, and we got there straight to play. And those memories, even though those are, it was a hard time, those are the memories that will stick with you. And I want them to be able to have those memories, play a good tournament, but also, have great memories, like remember, this time of their life as, being a good time.
Following the 4 matches in Texas this weekend, the T-Birds will then host their home opener as they will have a triangular coming up on August 27th. They'll face Southeast Community College at 2 p.m. that day, and then at 6 p.m. that night, they'll take on McPherson College JV. Both of those matches will be inside Arlie Bryant Gymnasium in Concordia. We'll stream those matches on the T-Birds Sports Network at cloudtbirds.com. I want to get to our final 4 questions. Before I do that, though, what do you like the most about this team right now?
How competitive they are. I can see the competition, in their eyes. Like, when I tell them to do something and I know, like, they are doing their best to do it and they're competing, against themselves, actually. Like, they are, hey, yesterday I was not able to do this. Today I am going to do it. Like, they're competing against themselves, competing against teammates, competing against the other team. Like, that competitiveness is what, I think it's the strongest thing this team has.
Time for our final 4 questions with Coach Ramos. And I guess to start, I want to talk a little bit more about some of the preseason. But when it comes to the 5 new players that you brought in, aside from the individual workouts, the things we've talked about on the courts, what kind of things did you guys do off the court? How do you go about trying to integrate these new faces, these new players into your team, into the school, into the community? What does that look like?
So for those first weeks, I remember we usually go to the neighbor to neighbor. So the Sisters of St. Joseph, they always help us. They host, us, and they have some fun games. This year we're not able to do it, but they always host us over there, and we're very grateful for them because they love to host us. The girls love them. We also have a host family for the team. They always, host us for a meal. We also go to different places in town for, have dinner and talk. And then when we go down to, last year and then this year as well, go to Texas, those are like big trips. I try to do something like some kind of like team bonding activity. Last year we went to escape room. So it was nice to see how they work as a team and, who are the thinkers, who are the doers. And it was just very interesting. This year, I am not going to spoil what we're going to do, but I'm already planning something really fun for them to do. And that's how I try, to make sure they're like bonding. We have like some team meetings. We had some painting that we did as a team. So I try to, with the best I can, fit some stuff with the schedule we have, because sometimes it's just feel like we don't have enough time, to do everything. There's still a lot of other things I want to do. I just need like enough time to do it all.
Well, now you got me curious about the trip, because last year I had to participate in the escape room too. Ron Elsasser, our bus driver, he participated in the escape room. I'm happy to report that everybody actually escaped.
Yeah.
We were all successful in that regard, but now I'm curious what you may have up your sleeve for this weekend.
Well, I do not want to spoil.
Let me get to question 2. But as we come upon the first weekend, really the girls have been here already a month. And it's been a long month, again, with a lot going on. And again, I know they're desiring to just play. That's what they've come here for. They want to play. They want to compete. How do you keep them motivated? How do you keep them excited about what's to come this whole month where, again, it can seem so long, having to wait for what they really want to do?
I feel like focusing in practice and, kind of like trying to replicate what they're going to do, like with a lot of different drills. I know some drills, like some parts, especially for individuals, we need to work on some things that some people might think it's boring. But when we do the team practices, come up with like different drills, come up with different, things that they might never seen before, and that challenges them mentally, challenges them to work as a team, challenge them, in different areas. So I think that's, what I try to do to keep them motivated for games. And also one thing we talk about, like they need to have that motivation from within. I can come up, I'll do my part to make sure I bring drills and make plan practice that they will enjoy. I also have like some music for warm up because I'm trying to reproduce what we do like during game days, because game days, they're going to warm up with music. So I'm trying to incorporate that during practice. So then they also have like, okay, so, it kind of feels like a game day, during practice. So little things here and there that I try to implement, but also help them to understand that it doesn't matter who is in the stands, doesn't matter if it's a practice, doesn't matter if it's a game. You're going to treat that as, I have a job to do. I'm going to give my all. Doesn't matter what time I step on the court.
Question number 3. The first weekend's here. You're ready to compete. And as much as we say time's going to go super fast, you're going to get 30-plus matches in this season. So I don't want to put too much of these first 4 matches, they're the most important, right? Because it's going to still be a long season, even though the time's going to fly by. There's a lot that's going to change. There's a lot that can be accomplished over the next 30-plus matches. First weekend out, though, these first 4 matches, what are you focused on? What do you most want to see out of your players this weekend?
I'm really focused on... I wouldn't say like I'm not focused on winning, because I'm very competitive to say that, but I am trying to see the big picture, okay? And the big picture is we need to grow, okay? So of course I want to win all of the games, but I also want to see them getting better from game 1 to game 4. Of course we can win, and I hope we can win all 4 games, but I want to see progress. Like what I would not like to see is like win the first game, super good because we're all excited, and then we let our guard down, and then we go to 5 with a team that we could have, maybe 4 sets, so I want to see a steady improvement throughout this, like all the games we're going to do from now on, make sure we're working on different areas, we're fixing, areas that we need to fix, and then when we get, and all of these tournaments, all of these games prior to our conference are to prepare us for what is to come, what really matters, which is the conference. So I want to see them excited to play, but also, focus on getting better, okay, individually and as a team. Work on communication, work on, make sure you keep your teammate accountable, make sure you believe that your teammate's going to do what they say, what they're going to do. So those are the things that I want to see them working on.
Final question, and this one I want to focus on you in coaching. And I know last year when we did this and I asked you the final 4 questions, one of the questions I asked was, what's some of the best coaching advice that you've ever received? You're going into your 3rd year now as the head coach for Cloud County. What are the lessons you feel you've learned from your first 2 years? Mistakes maybe you've made, things that you've learned that you feel will make you a better coach year number 3. What's kind of your feelings coming into the year?
I feel like I learned a lot when it comes to communication. It's something that I still have to work on, but I'm trying to find ways to make sure I'm communicating and expressing, what I need and what I want for the team a little bit better. I also learned to, let the players do a little bit more. I'm the type of person that I will do everything if I have to, but I sometimes don't understand, like, you don't have to do everything by yourself. You can let them help, and I feel like they will feel, even like appreciated by, hey, you know, I get to send the text to the group. Hey, I get to put like this message on the board, like this motivation thing. Like I get to pick the playlist for, you know, our warm-ups and stuff. So letting the players get more involved, I feel like I learned that a lot this past few years. I feel like patience is something I've been working a lot to, and understanding that they all are coming from different backgrounds, they're all coming from different high schools, and understanding that they all will need the time to adapt. And it's normal for them to feel frustrated. It's normal for them to feel like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do it, and just be that person that will like show them, hey, I believe you, you can do it, just give it a little bit more time. So I feel like those are the three big things that, you know, I learned the past few years, and I'm implementing, you know, coming in this next year, like the communication, allowing them to participate a little bit more on the process behind the scenes, because also it's hard for them to understand what a coach goes through when they don't really know. And, you know, I don't show them. I'm always having this strong front of like, hey, you know, I'm all this, like, no, like I'm a human being just like you guys. You know, there's a lot of things I need to go behind the scenes. So that's why I need you guys to focus on what you need to do as a player. You know, so that's a big thing too that I see they're also enjoying, you know, like being able to do a little bit more, and, you know, not being more patient, but like understanding their point of view a little bit better, especially the newcomers.
Coach, I'm excited for the season ahead. I appreciate you letting me join you, follow your team around, and I think it's going to be a fun one. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Are you a Kansas or Nebraska high school senior who's thinking about your next step after high school? If so, you qualify for Cloud County Community College's $500 early bird scholarship. All you have to do is visit campus before December 19th and have a GPA of 3.0 or higher, and you get a $500 scholarship guaranteed. So come visit Cloud and see why our students are Cloud proud. On your visit, you'll see our campus, meet with an academic advisor, and get a chance to have all your questions answered. Set up your campus visit today by giving us a call at 785-243-1435 extension 212, or visiting us online at cloud.edu/admissions.
My thanks to Cloud County Community College head volleyball coach Hilta Ramos for joining us this week on T-Bird Talk, and want to wish all the best to the Cloud County Community College volleyball team as they begin their 2025 season this weekend at the Wrangler Ranger Roundup in Ranger, Texas and Cisco, Texas. You can follow results online at our website, cloudtbirds.com. We'll also be posting videos and more up at our social media pages. So make sure you follow and like us on Facebook at Cloud County Athletics, Instagram at Cloud County Athletics, and on X at CCCC Sports. In the weeks ahead, here on T-Bird Talk, we're going to have an opportunity to visit with members of the Cloud County Community College volleyball team. We're also going to be talking T-Bird cross country, as the Cloud County Community College women's and men's cross country teams have begun their practices in preparation for the 2025 season. The 2025 year gets underway coming up on Saturday, September 6th, when the T-Birds make the trip to Wichita, Kansas to compete in the J.K. Gold Classic, hosted by Wichita State University at Clapp Cross Country Course in Wichita. In a couple of weeks, we'll have an opportunity to sit down with Cloud County Community College Director of Cross Country and Track and Field, Drew Mahan, and new Assistant Cross Country and Track and Field Coach, Rylan Cheney. New episodes of T-Bird Talk will be dropping every Thursday, so make sure you subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platforms. T-Bird Talk is a production of the Cloud County Community College Athletic Department.